Hi friends, in this video I will share my process for setting up goals with giving an example for the new year, but the same principles can be applied to any goal setting process. In a nutshell, my goal setting process consists of 7 steps. 1. Set the vision, or in other words, a theme for a year. 2. Define what I want. 3. Break it down into manageable and measurable action steps. 4. Work backwards to build a plan. 5. Identify timeline, resources needed, and set success criteria. 6. Set a visual for tracking progress. And 7. Take action. Plans are really nothing without action, so I'm including the action-taking step as a part of the overall process. So I start with defining a theme for a year. For me, this phrase is like an affirmation or a mantra. It captures the emotional context and also the intention. That's what really differentiates this phrase from anything else. It serves as a reminder where I should keep my focus and also helps me identify the priorities. For example, 2020 was a year of living my own power, while 2021 was the year of setting foundation for thriving. Years ago, I discovered Wheel of Life assessment, which really became the foundation for how I do my planning. When I first started this process, life seemed overwhelming at times. I could be working on so many different things at any given moment, so how do I know what to focus on? Being a data-driven person, I look at the current state assessment, I identify the gaps, and that's where I focus my efforts. Let me illustrate. So when I look at my life, I look at 7 different categories across the board. The first one is well-being, and this pertains to both physical and mental. This category really focuses on sustaining personal vitality. The second one is love and connections. This category is about creating meaningful connections with others. The third category is success and business. In this category, I focus on the things that contribute to achieving personal success in career and finding fulfillment in the same area. The fourth category is productivity and performance, and this category is about maximizing productivity and achievement. The fifth category is wealth. The sixth category is connection or spirituality. It's about finding that connection with something bigger than I am and finding emotional mastery through that experience. And the last category is leadership and impact, and this one is about realizing my vision and purpose and creating meaningful impact. These categories can be adapted to your personal life. Just do a quick Google search for inspiration. So let me talk about how I do the assessment. For each of the categories, I think of where I currently am and where I want to be on a scale from 1 to 10. I do a quick assessment, and for areas that have the largest delta, which is a difference between where I want to be and where I currently am, those become my focus areas for the year or the month or whatever the duration that you're working with. I pick the top 3 categories, and those become my focus areas for the year. I don't try to tackle all 7 throughout the year, but I do like to work on a few of them in parallel. I found that it's almost impossible to make a meaningful impact across all 7 throughout the year, but if I work on 2 to 3, then I can make progress in all of them to the extent that I feel satisfied and like I have succeeded. After I have picked my top 3, I create a plan, I define success metrics, and I build a visual to track progress. Let me illustrate. For example, physical well-being is something that came back into my life at the end of this year, which is going to be one of my focus areas taking into the next year. First, I start by defining what I want. I want to be emotionally and physically resilient, and I want to be able to swim 4 lap pools without stopping. I also want to have a flat stomach, and I want to be able to do a split. So when I think about where I am right now, I think I'm about 6 or 7. I will go with 7 out of 10, and I want to be at about 9. So I have about 2 points to cover. So now I need to develop a plan of how I'm going to address this. So as the second step, I break these things down into manageable and measurable action steps, and I set the goals. So my first step is movement. No matter what, I want to move for 60 minutes a day, and it can be strength training, it can be stretching. It doesn't matter what I do, I have to move for at least 60 minutes a day. My goal is to do it 25 out of 30 days every month. So I give myself a little bit of a leeway to make sure that I set myself up for success. The second one is swim practice. I want to do 2 swim practices every week, and I want to complete 3 out of 4 weeks every month. I also want to do acupuncture once a month and do massage once a month, which I'm going to add to my action steps. And I'm going to do cognitive behavioral therapy once a week, which is also going to be a part of my action plan. Also, meditation. If you've seen my other content, you know I'm big into meditation, so I'm going to keep meditation as a part of my plan. So daily meditations, AM and PM, I'm planning on doing it 25 days out of 30, even though secretly my goal is to do 30 out of 30, 100%. I don't want to skip any of the days. But for the days that I don't want to do AM and PM, I will do either AM or PM. So once a day, my goal is to have that meditation practice. Next step is creating a visual for the progress. I do believe if you don't look at the measuring and check in with your progress often, you kind of lose sight. At least I do. So for me, it's been very helpful to have some form of a visual that I can reference on a regular basis. Sometimes it's a wall chart calendar, sometimes it's a thing in my journal, and I use matrix layout and I just create dates and a grid that I can check mark when I check things off the list. That way, when I look back, I can quickly have a one-page at a glance overview of my progress and see how I'm doing. And that will give me an idea if I need to tweak anything in my action plan or if I'm doing great and I can continue on the same path. The last step is really taking action. So as I mentioned, plans without action are nothing. So I do believe in taking action more in anything. So for me, putting it into action immediately is key. I tend to not plan for January 1. I start on the off cycles all the time. I readjust, I reaffirm, and I feel like I can never fail as long as I keep coming back and trying new ways, tweaking my routines, and continuing to grow and evolve in my practice. Once I establish the plan, I reassess my goals and progress on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. I do have this grand mid-year review, which I usually hope to achieve more than a few things by that time. So I do take that time to reflect back, to look at what worked, the things that didn't work so well, and then modify my plan and adjust accordingly. I use bullet journal to do all these things, to plan, to set goals, to track progress. So if you're interested to see how I fit everything that I just mentioned into bullet journal format, please check out my video on bullet journal planning where I explain my method. I have been using it for the last 3 years and I can definitely say that it helped me immensely. It also taught me to be less of a perfectionist, and I think because of that, I take more consistent action. I am more compassionate towards myself and towards my goals and achievements and the progress that I'm making, and I'm just kinder. I see that I'm making progress and evolving, and there's no need to seek that perfection at times. I think it just becomes a hindrance. So if you're interested in that, check the video on bullet journal planning. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.